Thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
Yeah.
For your success this week, the first thing that I want to talk about is you successfully created lesson plan folders, organized materials, and created a strategic way to internalize with like the highlighting. And that was awesome. What is the impact of this?
I was able to go through like the checklist and see that I'm doing the things I need to be doing, make sure like my students will be set up for success. Like I could think through impactful probing questions beforehand, but it was also like I was trying to make it where you can see what I did. Yeah.
Great. Go ahead and write it down. And by me being able to see what you did, what am I able to do?
Give me better feedback.
Yeah. Nice and organized and beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so because of that, this week I want to dive into a specific part of internalizing your lesson plan, and that's to create an aggressive monitoring plan. So to do this, I want you to take a look at an exemplar, specifically the aggressive monitoring, and I want you to consider what is effective about how this teacher plans to monitor. So you can take 2 minutes to review it and take some notes on what you think is effective.
So,
What would you find?
So it was a way to gather data as well, beyond just a plan, but it had ways to break up students into different categories and then adapt instruction based on those categories and what you need to do.
Great. So I heard that they identified like different categories of misconceptions,
Mm-hmm.
How to address them based off of that, and then a way to track data, absolutely. And then what did you notice on that side that the teacher provided?
Over here,
Mm-hmm.
they have a system of what's the word? Like marks they can make to tell a student if they're on track or if they need more.
Yep.
So they could quickly correct.
Code.
Yeah.
I think
code.
that's the word you're
Code.
looking for. Okay, so now I want you to take a lesson plan that you submitted for Tuesday next week.
Okay.
What is the gap between what you named and the lesson plan you just took a look at? Go to the student practice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this week I wasn't thinking so much about this for some reason. I don't know
That's how we're doing it now.
why. Yeah. So, yeah, I made little marks of how to challenge readers, but I didn't really make a good system for what to look for to identify that they're struggling or not.
Yeah, I agree. Like you did a lot of there were some great probing questions push kiddos further, but there wasn't necessarily a system for if they're not getting it.
Yeah.
So based off of that, what do you think your action step is going to be for this week?
It would be to create aggressive monitoring plans in all my lessons.
Yeah, so that's your what, is to create a monitoring plan while internalizing lesson plans. And then your how is step 1, is identify possible misconceptions. Step 2 is identify how to address the misconception, so with a prompting question, modeling, etc. Step 3, identify a code to use with students. And step 4 is create a template of some sort to track that data. In your own words, what would you say your action step is now?
My own words, I'd say make an aggressive monitoring plan that includes codes, ways to scaffold learners who aren't on track, and identify, that's what I just said. And then also how to track the data, make sure I'm able to track the data in the lesson.
The data about what?
About where students are at, where their misconceptions are.
Beautiful, misconceptions.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is I want you to, looking at your lesson plan, I want you to take 2 minutes to identify, and you can go ahead and do this on the back of your paper, identify possible misconceptions from this lesson.
Okay. So I was looking specifically at tracking events.
Okay.
Because it's not something we've done much. I mean, we just got off a poetry lesson, so there's not much tracking events. So I thought students could probably have 2 different misconceptions. They could either have events jumbled up.
Okay, so like order of events?
Mm-hmm. Or they might have trouble remembering what happens at all.
So I see like struggling to sequence is one.
Mhm.
So like students are incorrectly sequencing events. I don't think that, so the thing about like remembering isn't necessarily a misconception. A misconception is like a misunderstanding of the content.
Okay.
So like that would be like that's like almost like if a kid doesn't do their reading for their homework.
Yeah.
That's a.
Uh-huh.
So like what would be something that the students would struggle with in terms of the content?
Irony is hard for students to understand sometimes. There's a lot of irony in the text.
Say more. So like what specifically with irony would students be misunderstanding?
They might take the author at his word.
Okay. So the misconception is students take the author's words for face value.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay, So what I want to do now is, now that we've like normed on what 2 potential misconceptions are, I want you to go ahead and open up your computer. I'm going to share a template with you. This is lesson 3, right? Why don't you make a copy of this document, and we're going to go ahead at the same time, we're going to create ways to adapt our instruction, and then we'll spar.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, did you make a copy?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So let's take 3 minutes to do this now, and then we'll spar.
I'm assuming yours is going to be better than mine. This is
That's
hard.
not sure.
Are you done?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So let's swap. I'm sorry, I spelled my copies sometimes.
Hmm. I like the first, second, like, I don't know, I think that's actually kind of helpful, just thinking like what's first, then what.
I like that your obviously your understanding of the text is a little bit stronger than mine, so your questions are really specific about like, with the irony especially is like, do young boys typically go on murdering sprees? I think that like, that combined with like, what is he really trying to say, could make a strong like probing question for kiddos.
Okay.
Yep. I'll share mine with you too, so that you have. Oh, you already have it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your biggest takeaway from this?
I need to look for possible misconceptions, so I'm going to do internalization, and then when I'm trying to address it, I need to do it in a way where I can gather data and go ahead and find out ways I could adapt instruction.
Great. And so like, I would also name that this like in this case was like one lap for me. Like when I was doing this with kiddos, it was like during our small group time, so this was like the first lap of like analyzing their evidence, I think for their papers, their evidence. So like you might have like multiple points in your lesson plan where like you're monitoring data. You might have like lap 1, lap 2, lap 3, where you're like identifying misconceptions.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Great. So going forward, this is what I'm going to be looking for in your lesson plan, that you're identifying misconceptions and how to respond to those misconceptions.
Okay. Cool.
Any questions for me?
No.
Great. That was also your lesson plan feedback for this week.
Okay.
So you're done with the first one. That
Awesome.
sounds good.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then you can have this just so that
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's cool. I like
Great.
this system.
All right. Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.